Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub as we have kind of a unique special episode today. Typically, I do the game previews. That will be later tonight, so that will go out Thursday evening, probably around 8 or 8:10. Um, if not, then it'll be out first thing Friday morning. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring on somebody who recently wrote an article, and I want to do this more as just a way to kind of get more hockey content out, is bring on some of these writers that are doing great work covering the team and or writing unique features like the one we'll talk about today. So I wanted to bring on Nick Lundberg from the State News. Nick, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How's it going, Clay?
Doing well, doing well. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What year are you in school?
So I'm a sophomore at Michigan State. Obviously, writer for the State News. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Proud U of D Jesuit Cub. But
Awesome.
I joined the State News last year in the sports desk last semester, and I've always wanted to be a sports writer, so it's been good to get to follow um, my dreams. And then I've always been a Michigan State fan, so just adding that on to being able to covering all the Michigan State sports, not necessarily football or basketball right now, but everything else, and learning about every other sport has been really fun, and I'm so glad I'm a part of the process.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, are you a Red Wings fan and a Lions fan and a Pistons fan as well?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Detroit sports fan. I actually was at the
Tigers too?
Yep, all four of them. But I was at the Pistons game last night too, so that
So
was a fun one.
I actually watched that game. So I live in Kentucky. I'm actually a Celtics fan, but I happened to watch that game because I love Cade and Ivy, and I wanted to see how they'd play. And the Magic have some interesting people, so it was a fun game to watch. But the Pistons won. It was fun. But
Yes, sir.
let's get into talking a little bit about hockey and a little bit about this article that you wrote. So those who have no idea what we are talking about, Nick recently wrote for the State News um, a little bit of a feature here about the assistant hockey coach, Jared DeMichiel, and kind of about his recruiting angle. And I'll have a link to that article in the description. But if you're listening on Spotify, we will read some quotes from it and talk about it. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the title here. It's a quote from Coach DeMichiel. So before we get into all that, how was talking to Coach DeMichiel?
It was great. I actually I've I walked around the new renovations to Munn. I saw
Yeah.
a little bit about it, but I never got the chance to go in the offices, and they really are like state of the art. When I first walked in, it was very welcoming environment. Aside from all the couches and nice stuff they got going on, but everybody was super nice. Said what's up to Coach Nightingale as well. I talked with him or over the summer too about on another story, but getting to talk to I had never met DeMichiel before. Coach DeMichiel, very nice guy, cool office, great view. But he was, yeah, just he. I mean, I know like coaches are supposed to be nice to the media. They're told because we're kind of there to like meeting us. They're our way to the rest of the people.
Yeah.
So their kind of responsibility is to be nice. But it seemed like he was a really genuine guy. Besides that, and he was very interested and took time out of his day for me. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, and you all are the media. What I am, I always say I'm just a fan with a microphone. That's all I am. I'm not media. I'm not reporting. I don't have any of that. So they don't owe me anything. And when he was hired, I reached out to him and asked if he could just do 20 minutes on this podcast with me to talk about him, Michigan State, what he saw. And not only did he agree to do it, I think we talked for like 45 or 50 minutes. And I came away with that thinking, holy crap, I want to learn, or I just want to go play hockey for this guy. Like, he's such a genuine, nice person. I'm really happy to have him part of the Michigan State hockey program as well. So yeah, I came up with the same thing. And if you've not seen the Jared DeMichiel, Coach DeMichiel episode, just click right down here on our little icon, and you can go find it. It's really interesting, great stories and perspective on recruiting as well. Also, while you are down here, hit the like and subscribe button as well. That helps us out a lot. So let's dive into this article some. So, you pretty much had the idea of talking to him about kind of recruiting and Michigan State and what brought him here in a few quotes. And I didn't include everything because I want you to go read Nick's article. It's really well done. It's not super long. It won't take you a bunch of time. Just click the link in the description. But the first quote that stood out to me was as follows: "What Adam wants to do here, I think it's going to be very, very special. And I think it's something that kind of, the more I research, it was something I want to be a part of." When I hear that, I mean, that makes me really excited just hearing that, Coach Nightingale is, and just to back up a little bit and get a little bit of background. Coach DeMichiel and Coach Towns did not actually apply for the Michigan State assistant jobs. Coach Knights reached out to them and had to kind of pull them away and bring them to Michigan State. And hearing a quote like that to me is just showing how much faith they have in Coach Nightingale and how much they believe in what he's saying and what his plan is for Michigan State hockey. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. We all know that, Nightingale's track record at with the national development team, and years prior to that with Shattuck St. Mary's, and all of the winning he's been a part of and development. And it really speaks volumes that they DeMichiel and Towns, who at least DeMichiel told me that he didn't really have any previous knowledge of Nightingale, and didn't even, like you said, didn't apply for the job. But the fact that um like the fact that all what he learned about the squad, or about Nightingale and everything he wanted to do, just by he's done in the past, is pretty telling to something that like he could be building in the future. And about a part of this program, and just with everything that's going on, all the excitement with the new staff and the new players and the new arena. Just um I mean, I from using DeMichael's perspective, like, I would have done the same thing. Like, that sounds very exciting and something that could turn into something really special.
Yeah, and he, in your article, it goes on to talk about, a Big Ten school like Michigan State with the history that it has does carry some weight. It also talks about, I believe it was an article from The Athletic, is that right? About how they ranked him number
Yes.
3.
Yep.
Is that right?
He was top five. I believe it was one of the top five recruiters in the country. And I think you're right. I think he was number three. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So that alone is extremely impressive. And your article talks more about a certain example of a big NHL player that he recruited that you all can read about as well. Um, Another quote that stood out to me. Well, here it was Cale McCarr's who it was, and um, the quote reads, "I think we just built a really open, honest relationship with Cale and let him know how we thought his game could improve and how we could do things. And I think that at the end of the day, as cheesy as it might sound, honesty is the best policy." And I think he really liked and appreciated that. Why I pulled that quote was, in the world of recruiting, especially in other sports, there's a lot of glamour to it, right? Let's put you in front of these cars on the 50-yard line, stuff like
Yep.
that. We've all seen it with the football program.
Yeah.
To me, and this is 100% my opinion, I don't want anyone to take that as Nick's opinion or anyone else's, but a lot of that can come off as phony at times. And a lot of times with recruiting, it's such a competitive head-to-head matchup that you might tell some players something that may not be true. And then they get here and they may have to transfer out and it's really unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the beast. I love what he was talking about here about being honest and telling Kale McCarr, one of the best players in the NHL, like what his weaknesses were and like how we are going to improve on that. To me, that's exactly what I would want in a coach. And I'm sure it's a lot of what parents and players look for in a coach. Somebody who is willing to help them identify their strengths and weaknesses and work to make those weaknesses strengths.
Yeah, I agree. And now that, like, especially with the NIL deals and all that processes and stuff, um, and you read all the time now, at least like in football and stuff, that people are making fake promises to players and
Yeah.
athletes, and maybe that they come basically not to improve their game as a football player or player or student athlete, excuse me, but just to, get the fame, get the money from the checks and the NIL deals and stuff. And I mean, to be honest, like besides like we haven't had much recent history where we can go back and be
Yeah.
like to a hockey recruit and be like, okay, this is what we've done in the past. It's all new stuff with Nightingale and DeMichiel, and that adds to the excitement and um, the honesty. And I agree with DeMichiel. In the process, honesty is the best policy, and players want and people in general just want people to be honest with them. And um, if the place is right and the fit is right, then and you're honest about it, then I don't see why you shouldn't come join DeMichiel and what Nightingale's building.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. There's the renovations. There's already, as we can see from the first 4 games, an improved team on the ice. Excitement around the coaching staff with some fresh ideas, some fresh perspective. So there's just so much reason to follow this hockey team, cheer for this hockey team, and be a fan of this hockey team. Now, speaking of following, who do we need to be following from the state news to get all of our hockey coverage?
So we're in the midst of assigning beat reporters reporters to specific beats. Right now we have Maddie Warren. She's
Mhm.
been out there a lot for the hockey team. Melanie Savarinsky. If you go on our website, thestatenews.com, and look at hockey sports coverage, you'll find their bylines in there. Give them go on social media. You'll see their articles on Twitter. Give them a
Mhm.
follow. They're great reads as well. But I know that Sam Sklar and Alex Faber, who were on the beat last year, and I know they've talked with you guys. They recently did, I think, was the last home game, which was the
Yep.
upset, or maybe that was Jenna Malinowski. Also,
Yeah.
we've all been, covering. We've all been
So
going
Alex and
here and
Sam have
there.
been on the show multiple times. Those are two of my favorite people. So those other names that you mentioned, and I follow them on Twitter as well. I'm gonna work them in as the season continues. If they wish, I'd love to have them on the show as well.
Yeah, well, we've been rotating coverage, so we'll know in about a week who is where, and I'm sure whoever's on the beat will be excited to talk with you about what they've been seeing so far this year, and that could be me. I could be back on hockey too, so I might make in a couple appearances with you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, everyone who's been covering the team has done a great job so far, and Sam and Alex are great at what they do, is of course, but maybe some new faces on the beat this year, so I'm excited to see where everyone ends up, and it'd be nice to be back.
Absolutely. Well, everyone make sure to give Nick a follow, as you can see on your screen there, at Nick Lundy with an with a Y 22, at Nick Lundy 22. Nick, thank you so much for your time today, and have a great day.
Of course, you too. Appreciate it.